Welcome to our first show here. It's Ryan and we got Brian. We're the Numbers Lab. First, we're going to call it first just YouTube show here. We're going to preview the PGA Championship, but also we want to let you guys know we're just kind of getting things off the ground floor here. We have a Twitter handle that we'll put in the description of the video, but it's Numbers Lab. It's super simple, but we're just it's a free service. We're not charging any sub fee or anything. We got golf, we got baseball, we got NASCAR, we got UFC. We've both been, like I said, we're going to preview the PGA Championship, but we've each been plus units in 2 of the last 3 weeks, and we're just kind of getting going. Brian's been playing UFC and NASCAR, so welcome everybody. Welcome Brian. Excited to kind of show people what we got and what we're going to do. So that's about it. So we're doing our own thing, and we're going to kind of dive into the PGA Championship. But do you want to add on kind of what I said about the other sports, kind of what we're doing?
Yeah, so we had a couple other videos with some other outlets back in college basketball season. I think that'll probably be our mainstay here on the channel. Will be college basketball. College football we'll hit on too, and I'm sure NFL, just because we're both pretty big nerds about all of that. But college basketball, we really kind of got off the ground there. We were up quite a bit in college basketball season. So we'll bring that back obviously in the late fall. But for now, we've been really focusing on PGA, UFC, hitting on some NASCAR. Ryan's been going nuts on MLB plays. I don't know how many he's hit here on a streak. It's not how many you've hit here on a streak. It's been a pretty big run.
I think I'm like 9-2 in my last 11 or something.
Yeah, but it's been a nice run. I've been tailing every day. So yeah, I'm excited to just kind of do our own thing. We've, like you mentioned, we were up units 2 out of the last 3 weeks in PGA, and really excited to get started here with these videos, especially kicking it off with the PGA Championship.
Yeah, and also one thing, you guys will get a link to, especially if you're on following us on Twitter. We post all our plays on there, but then we also have a spreadsheet of all of our plays. Everything's transparent, wins, losses, everything. Units are dialed to the 0.1. I mean, everything's there, and that's what we want to bring to you guys, is transparency. We don't want to be, we've been involved with some other sites we're not going to name, and just it seems like there's a lot of people in the space that transparency is not the most important thing to them, and that's going to be to us. So, with that being said, we're going to just kind of dive into some PGA Championship. Obviously, who we like, who we've already bet, or anything like that. And also, fair warning on my audio, guys. If there could be some crying. I have a newborn at home, but nonetheless, we're working through it. But so PGA Championship this week at Kiowa. Obviously, it's going to be the longest course that anybody on PGA Tour has played. It's like tipping out at like over 7,800 yards, which is going to be really interesting. Even though these guys have a long way, I think what's going to be key, or not key, it's just how they're going to handle this, the wind. Obviously, like the 14th to the 18th hole are all going to be playing into the wind. Obviously, some of them are going to be playing downwind, but those last finishing 4 or 5 holes are going to be really tricky if the wind keeps up that way. I mean, you had guys like Tony Fenow hitting 4 irons into par 4s, and it's going to be a very interesting test for everybody. Obviously, Kiowa was hosted the PGA Championship before. Rory McIlroy won, landslide victory for him for his second major, but obviously that was 9 years ago or so, and a little bit of change, but another Pete Dye golf course. There's particular guys that I'm targeting that play well at Pete Dye golf courses, and we'll get into that in a little bit. What do you think about the golf course and the length and all that? And what are you kind of looking at when you're making your plays?
Yeah, I know everybody sees this course and it's an ocean course, and they're like, well, it's typical links golf. But with this course, they have raised greens. There is sand, but it's not traditional sand. I mean, the rough is, the rough's not too bad. Would compare the rough kind of like pine straw, more or less. I would say the difficulty at the Masters at Augusta. Some other analogs that I was kind of looking at because like you said, we don't have course history here, at least recently, since 2012 be the most recent. But looking at TPC Sawgrass is a good one that I was honing in on at the Players Championship. So looking at this past year as well as back to 2019, and then the CJ Cup was pretty similar in course type. So I looked at that as well for a comparative course. And then, like you mentioned, the wind. So I know I was watching some coverage today, just kind of off and on, and the winds were howling pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the winds are going to be up quite that much heading into the tournament. It looked like the forecast, at least for sustained winds, was less than 10 miles per hour with gusts, 13 to 15, somewhere in there. Today they were gusting over 20. So it's a pretty big difference. And then, if you can make the cut, it looks like the winds are going to die down even more, especially on Saturday. So we'll have to see. I mean, on the ocean, it is somewhat unpredictable. And then the other thing,
it almost plays link style.
Yeah.
At least part of it.
Yeah. It's just, I think those raised greens are a little bit different. And then the paspalum greens are something that's a little different. It's a very uncommon seed mixture on the greens, at least in the tour. I was looking at who does well on stroke gain for that green type. So that was something that I leaned on a little bit when I was trying to put together a list of guys to find some value in the lines.
Yeah, and I think we're going to just kind of we're not going to go over our whole card probably, because I'm probably going to add a few tonight that I have written down that I'm leaning. But we already do have some posted over on the spreadsheet. Fairly big card for both of us going in. We like to try to pick our spots. We're probably playing a few more plays this week just because it's a major, but we're not just throwing units around either. So I'm going to get into a few of mine and at least a few of the guys that I like, and then we'll just kind of go from there. I don't want to start off with who we picked a few of the guys that we have picked to win. I think we kind of build up with some top 40s and then kind of leave those to the end so you guys watch the whole video. So a couple guys that I have written down so far and that I've bet. So for top 40, I really like Mark Leishman this week for top 40, especially I got it at plus 110 over at FanDuel. I put a unit and a half on that, and he's just been playing well. Obviously in Masters, he's tied 13 in 2020 and then a top 5 in 2021. So he plays majors fairly well. He won the Zurich. That's not very comparable, but it's a team event, but he has played well this year. Great wind player, great iron player. So I really like Leishman top 40 at plus money. It's 40 moved to minus like 115. So I know I don't look at CLV very much in golf, but hey, I got the better number. Plus money, and now it's minus 115 or something like that. So I like Leishman top 40, and I'm going to keep it with his partner in the Zurich, Cam Smith. He's been tearing up majors, hasn't won one, but I got him top 30 plus 105. His last majors, he's got just looking. So 2019, going back to 2019, Open Championship T20, 2020 PGA tied 43, 2020 US Open tied 38. 2020 Masters tied for second, and the 2021 Masters top 10. So top 30 at plus money. It's I only got a unit on it. I probably should have bet more, but we're going to keep it there. So those are a couple guys I have. I'll leave with one more before we get to you. Siwoo Kim top 40 plus 140. He's thrived on Pete Dye golf courses. So won at Stadium Course, TPC River Highlands. 6 top 25 finishes on Pete Dye golf courses, the second at RBC Heritage. So the guy really does like his golf courses. You can find articles everywhere that he loves it. So I mean, a top 40 at plus 140, I'll throw money at that all day. So those are 3 guys I have. I've already bet them. I like them a lot. So I'll move it on over to you, to a few of the guys that you like.
Yeah. So as people are going to learn, I really like numbers. So, and that'll probably be very evident if you didn't follow our college basketball stuff when we move into that time with the college basketball model. That's really my niche there. Looking at the numbers, or looking at outside of the numbers, one person that I kind of honed in on was Keegan Bradley. So he he tends to be quite erratic, just from watching him play, but he did grade out pretty decently just from the strokes gained data that I looked at, as well as strokes gained on off the tee, strokes gained around the green, were two that I was looking at, and then on this green type. So he has some pretty good familiarity with this green type. But then he also, in 2012, I believe he was tied for third when they were at this course. So looking at the analogs, the Players Championship, he finished top 30 this year, and then top 20 in 2019. So I like Keegan Bradley for top 40. I got him plus 125. I also have him small bets on an outright at plus 8,000 and first round leader at plus 6,500. So I don't know. Personal opinion is he's pretty erratic. It seems like he's not there, and then all of a sudden he's shooting lights out.
Well, in the last month he's been playing well too. So I mean,
Yeah.
and he's a former PGA.
He's got pretty good form.
No, I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of miscuts. I won't get into all of them. I'll just kind of touch on them. Have Spieth to miss the cut at plus 270. I have Rose to miss the cut at plus 124. And then a couple of numbers guys that I really dug into. So Corey Connors really hit a bunch of categories. He ranks in the top 5 in strokes gained in windy conditions. He also ranked top 2 in ball striking, strokes gained, and then he was top 5 in strokes gained off the tee. So as you mentioned, with this course playing so long, off the tee is going to be super important. And then I was kind of looking at some different just raw metrics, not strokes gained metrics, but just from where he stacks up as far as driving accuracy and things like that. So his driving accuracy is about 70%, which ranks pretty good. And then his cut percentage is right around 90%. So some pretty good consistency there from him. So I liked him for top 40. I have a unit and a half at plus 100. I also have him as an outright at plus 7,000.
Got it. I like it. Yeah, you're definitely going to be more of the numbers guy, which we love. Obviously, you had mentioned college basketball algo. That thing was hitting at a very high percentage, and I liked it a lot in my bank account. So a couple more guys that I like for kind of like top 30, top 40 finishes. I have Bubba Watson at plus money for top 40. Again, another Pete Dye guy that thrives on his golf courses. He's won 5 tourneys on his golf courses, and so a top 40 at plus money. I think I got him at plus 140. So, and obviously he's a major winner. He's shown that he can win majors, barring it's at Augusta. But no, I like that one as well. Tony Fenow, obviously one of the longer guys on tour. I got him as a plus 20 just because 8 of his last 8 top 10s in his last 12 majors. So even a top 20 at plus 160. I like that a lot. He's always seems to find his way on the leaderboard. And I'll get to a couple outrights just because we're going to keep this kind of video short, and then you guys can go to the website and or the tracker and find all the rest of our plays. Zalatoris at 60 to 1. Guy obviously showed he can compete, ball striker, and he's not super long off the tee, but he's long enough to play this golf course. So yeah, I got him at plus 6,000, so 60 to 1. And I like Leishman again. I got him, like I said before, top 40. I threw a little bit at him at 80 to 1. So I mean, I think FanDuel had him at 81 and DraftKings had him at like 66 to 1. So I mean, right there, you're getting huge value. And so I sprinkled a little bit on him. And then my other outright that I got kind of in that upper category of like the e-com favorites, anywhere from like 25 to 1 and lower or higher. I have Victor Hoblin. Obviously, he's young. He's shown he can play major golf courses. I got him at 22 to 1. So I like him. And I think I sprinkled a little bit of the top 10 too. I think he was like plus 2 something. But no, and then I'll give you one sleeper before I turn it over to you, and we'll kind of wrap this up. I haven't added this to the tracker full disclosure, but I may. Robert McIntyre, Euro player, for top 40, he's plus 185. T12 at the Masters, T9 at the Dell Match Play, and T36 at the Arnie Invitational. So he's played the toughest golf courses on the PGA Tour. He's done pretty well. He was T8 at the English their Euro event yesterday. It was their Master last week. It was their Masters. It was the English Masters or whatever the heck it was called. I'm drawing a blank on the name, but he was like T8 there. So he's playing pretty well. Like I said, haven't got it there yet, but plus 185 again, another plus money. You'll find that we like to get the plus money on these top 40s. We ain't laying 150 juice usually. It just doesn't, to me, make very much sense. But we're gonna kind of try to shoot for that value where you're gonna get plus money on a lot of our top 30s, top 40s. And I think it'll pay off in the long run. So you got a few more you want to go over, and then we'll kind of wrap this thing up and not make it too long. And
just a general thing, kind of on that point there. We're not going to force plays. We're going to play where we think there is value. But like you mentioned, we're not going to, if there's somebody that's like, I think Justin Thomas to miss the cut or to make the cut is like minus probably like 400, 350, something like that. We're not going to lay that. Anything can happen. And there's some guys might be like, yeah, there's value there, but that's not the kind of bettors we are. That can get you in trouble. You lay that kind of juice, we're going to be looking for even or plus money most times. That's where we find the most value, and we don't get out of control with our outrights. They are lottery tickets there's so much variance, especially in sports like golf. So much unknown. So yeah, I think that's all a good point that we're talking about there with the plus money and stuff like that for the top 40s, top 20s. I have a bunch, like you mentioned. I'm a pretty high volume player. I see quite a bit of plays out of me on a given day / week. So just one kind of favorite that I wanted to touch on, Justin Thomas grades out in the metrics that I was looking at third behind DeChambeau and Morikawa. And there's not a whole lot of value there in his outright at plus 1,600. I like it, but there's no value in betting it. So I was trying to look for some exposure to him. And I did find some at a top 10 line for plus 163. So I did add a little bit there. I might bump that up to a full unit play. I haven't quite got there yet, but first at this year's Players, first at the CJ Cup in 2019. Like I mentioned, both great analogs for this course. And he's a great ball striker. Great, pretty good driving distance. This year he's made 100% of the cuts of the courses he's played, and he grades out pretty well, like I mentioned, in the strokes gained categories that I was looking at. So
yeah, to add on those top guys, it's so obviously it's not going to shock us if a 15-1 or 11-1 guy is going to win. I mean, they're the favorite, but I'd love to dig into the data of how many times the actual favorite has won in the last, I don't know, couple of years. I mean, obviously we know back at the Tiger Day when he was like plus 900, it's like, okay, I'm going to throw like 5 units on it. But there's just so many other guys. There's just a lot of talent right now, and I'm not going to be laying the 16 to 11 to 15 to ones or whatever on outright that often. Like you said, they're lottery tickets. If you hit 1 or 2 outrights a year, you're better than most.
Yeah.
And so one more little one that it's a lottery ticket that I threw out there. It's like I think 0.1 units to win 10 units or whatever it is. First round later bet. I have Zach Johnson.
Yep.
Haven't looked much at his first round. Obviously, I've been looking at first round scoring average and such, but you find him on majors. He hasn't been a first round leader in a PGA Championship, but I was looking back at the last few majors, and he's kind of right there on day one. I think he was one back a year or two ago. So I mean, he's obviously a major winner. He's won multiple majors. So at 10 out or at 100 to 1 or whatever it is, I will sprinkle a couple dollars out of
that's crazy.
and just hope. So That's one of the ones, guys. The first round later bets are lottery tickets, but they, you hit one of those and you're, it kind of makes your week with it barely starting. So I think that's all I got for, like I said, we'll let everybody else, but, if they want the whole card, you can tell them where to find us, and our spreadsheet's there and all of our picks. You'll see some baseball picks throughout the week. I have one in play right now, and it's pretty close to cashing. We've been doing good on all sports for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, our Twitter handles @numberslab_. We mentioned we're probably going to be launching an Instagram page here soon. This will be up on our YouTube, and we'll get this out on our individual channels or our individual Twitters that have a good bit more exposure. So yours is I am Ryan Frank, and mine is BLG923. So we'll get that out. Probably post over at Reddit and stuff as well. Let's get it out wherever.
Like I said, if you guys just sharing and liking and all that good stuff helps us out. If you like what we're doing, we're just starting out. So any exposure we can give, you guys retweet, share, whatever, we much appreciated. So. We definitely, we sub to or worked for various sites, and again, without mentioning any names, we want to be fully transparent. We're doing all of the work anyhow to make our own bets and fund our own fun here. So we've been successful up to this point, and we're just looking to share that success. And we both enjoy talking about this stuff and preparing, and figured it was a good week to really launch out here with this major, and we'll be working on putting together some other stuff here as we move forward. Definitely. So yeah, that's all we got for now. And yeah, go check it out, and let's cash the tickets this week.